Any amount, even in pills or powders you might think are safe, can kill you. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. It's that dangerous. If you're not sure what you're taking, don't risk it. Talk to someone you trust and look out for your friends. One pill can change everything. Stay smart, stay safe.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio App. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio. Download the app so you don't miss out what's popping, what's cracking, what's shining. It's your boy, Kareem the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to be, being supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. You know, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
You probably have questions about COVID vaccines. Here are some answers about how they're being made.
How are COVID vaccines being produced faster?
Usually, vaccine testing and production are separate steps. But because of the pandemic, vaccines are being developed on parallel tracks. So both steps are happening just at the same time.
How are the vaccines being tested?
Right now, several different COVID vaccines are in testing. Each go through multiple clinical trials with up to thousands of volunteers.
How do vaccines get approved?
Not all COVID vaccine versions will make it to the final stages of testing and approval. Produced vaccines that do not pass clinical trials will be destroyed. But for those that do pass, a team of medical experts will examine test results and possible side effects. If the vaccine is effective and safe, it gets approved and gets to you. Go to covidvaccinewa.org to learn more. A message from the state of Washington.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not using my GPS to navigate the land of 1,000 dances, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
And thank you for joining another episode of Real Estate Money. And I'm one of your co-hosts, Tina Lombard with Novus Home Mortgage.
And I'm Violeta Strash with Coldwell Banker Danforth.
Yes.
So yes, thank you everyone for our special addition to our Filipino American History Month. And why don't you go ahead and introduce our special guest today?
Well, we've got a very special person here today. Her name is Tess Guerzon, and Tess has been in the Filipino community very actively since the 1980s. She's a professional jazz singer. She also holds a beauty title. And she also has a clothing store, and she runs jazz festivals here in Seattle. But she's going to be talking to us about the Dr. Jose Rizal Park and Bridge, which is here in the middle of Seattle. So she's going to be telling us about that today.
All right.
Now we are going to introduce a very special guest and somebody who I've known most of my life there in Seattle. We have Miss Tess Guerzon. Tess is a native of Seattle. She has won many beauty titles. She's also a very famous jazz singer there in Seattle. Yeah. She also has a radio show also here on radio, Rainier Avenue Radio. So Tess, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Great.
Yes.
It's too long. We should have had you a long time ago.
It's been too long. Mm-hmm. Actually, I saw Tina in August, so for the jazz festival at the Rizal Park. So that was just a couple months ago. So
first time I met Tess, it was at Jubilante. You remember that place?
Yes, I do. That was a labor of love.
Was that your place?
It was me and my husband, and my mom also was an investor in that.
Oh, okay.
So,
and then the last time I saw you was at Ohana in Issaquah.
Yes, I remember that. You came to see our show.
Yeah, and you know my favorite song. She let me dance to my favorite song.
What's that?
girl from Ipanema.
Oh, girl from Ipanema. I always say girl from Filipinas now.
Oh, there you go. I should have said that. But, you know, we're into the season of celebrating. We just got done with Filipino American History Month. And I think it's so important to feature someone like Tess, who has a big part in something that is here in Seattle that we want to keep going and supporting. So let's talk to Tess. Tina, you can ask her all the questions about this special fundraiser and tell us about, first of all, Tess, tell us about who Jose Rizal was and what the significance is of him being honored here.
Well, as everybody knows, Dr. Jose Rizal is our national hero. He was a poet, very educated man. He spoke 22 languages.
Wow.
He was the one that actually brought the Philippines out of the Spaniards. You know, we were under Spanish rule for 300 years, and he was very instrumental, and he did this in a way, a nonviolent way, and and he has been very. You know, just a lot of the things that he's done. He was an artist, he was a poet, educator, and just an amazing person. I can read a little bit of what we have on our petition that we are trying. We have many signatures, but this is Dr. Jose Rizal was our national hero, martyr, and genius of the Philippines during the time of oppression, Spanish colonization. Through his writings, he forged unity, patriotism, and identity among Filipinos. He gave words to the crying need for change and set the torch to the Filipino revolutionary movement. So he died via firing squad on December 30th at the age of, I think he was in his 30s. He was very young. And
Wow.
so, yeah, that's our national hero.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Seattle has been so gracious as to have a park dedicated to Jose Rizal. So tell us a little bit about that, Tess.
Well, there's only 5 parks in the nation that is named after Dr. Jose Rizal. One of them is in Seattle. And originally a group of activists, Dolores Sabonga, who was the first city councilwoman, Vic Bacho, my mother, there was other families, Asuncions, and but anyway, they came together to originally they were trying to name a street after Dr. Jose Rizal, but then it ended up a park, and then it blossomed into a bridge, which is the only bridge in the nation named after Dr. Jose Rizal. So we should be very proud of that, and it's in Seattle. So. Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
that's a very big accomplishment, especially back then in 1970s.
Yeah, is that when they started the park? What was the park indoctrinated?
It was actually in the early 70s.
Okay.
The city of Seattle actually donated it to the Filipino community, but I believe it was originally say that again.
Well, inducted, or how to say inducted.
Yeah, in 1986, I believe. But I, checked
Wow.
the facts on that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So your mother was very instrumental. Say her name and tell us a little bit about her history here in Seattle.
Well, her name is Zenaida Guerzon. They came here as American nationalists for the 1962 World's Fair. And she and my grandmother came here on a cruise ship, and they sold Philippine handicrafts. And so, of course, it's always that Filipino pride. She was a very proud Filipina. And we also opened a store in Chicago.
Wow.
And she also opened a store in downtown Seattle back in the day. But she did many things. She had many hats. My father passed away when I was just 6 years old. And so she had to become 2 parents. And she started working. She did whatever she could. She sold bangus. She opened up a restaurant called Tropicana, which is now the Honey Court.
Oh,
And I never saw her during that time because you know how restaurants are. They're just
yeah.
a very labor intensive business. But she also was the first Filipino that introduced Tagalog in Franklin and Cleveland High School. She was an ESL teacher. She, of course, was instrumental in getting the funding, securing the funding, and helping with the naming of the park and bridge with the group. And what else did she do? She was amazing. My mom. She was the director for the IDIC at one time.
Oh,
Wow.
And after retiring from the Seattle Public Schools, she was a Seattle Public Schools teacher for 13 to 14 years. And then when she retired at 60, they had recruited her to be interim executive director for IDIC, but she did such a good job. They asked her to be the executive director, which she was for another 14 years, and she retired
wow.
at age 75. It was kind of a not such a good time during her retirement, but we don't want to go into that right now.
Well, what is IDIC? For people who don't know, what do you mean by IDIC?
IDIC is the International Drop-In Center. And it was, back then it was a senior center for Filipinos, but they've opened it up to families and young adults. So it's no longer an actual senior center. So you guys should go and they have Zumba. They have.
I know.
My mother was an avid member, and she was part of their drill team.
Oh, wow.
Remember the drill team? Yeah, they have their little canes, and they do every line dance step that was ever created. Yes,
I used to go all the time to have their lunch, cheap, yummy Filipino lunch, because I know Manong Slugo, who's the current executive director there, and they have a lot of things. Yeah, dancing. Right after lunch, the people get up there and they are on that dance floor for a while, and I just sit there going, I wish I could move like them.
But
it's a really good service for our seniors.
And so that's right there up on Beacon Hill. So Tess, in growing up in Seattle, I have been in Seattle too. But for you, what would you say some of the community or key places in Seattle when you grew up for Filipinos?
The key
the areas in which we grew up, and we actually, like Martin Luther King, or
yeah. Well, we always used to hang out at, Martin Luther King. I grew up in the North End, so we had different areas that we kind of, congregated. But, we always would meet up at the Filipino community. I never was able to go to FYA activities because my mom was a single mom, and we didn't have transportation to go to FYA. Although if I did, I would definitely have been part of the FYA drill team at that time, but we had no transportation. But later on, actually, I found out recently that from Auntie Dorothy that my mom was the one that made the first costumes for FYA drill team.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And when we say FYA, we mean the Filipino Youth Association.
Filipino Youth Activities. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, you had Beacon Hill was community, the whole Rainier Avenue was community. I know the Immaculate Conception Church, that's where Fonz was housed, and FYA was housed. All these different churches were the pillar of our communities. But besides the dance clubs and the disco clubs like Scoochie's but there are other places that we covered.
I was going to say those, but I didn't know if it was appropriate. Or going to different schools, right?
Yes, connect with the different schools. So, but I mean, there's a deep, rich history in Seattle. And so Jose Rizal Park is a place where Tess has actually organized a jazz festival every year. So tell us a little bit about the jazz festival up there.
Well, I started it in 2009. My mom passed away in 2005. And I ended up starting this jazz festival in 2009. In honor of her and also all the others that helped create this park and bridge for us. And it was amazing how many people did not even know that park existed back then. And even now, a lot of people don't even know that it's there. But it has, I've created quite a bit of awareness of the park. So a lot of people know it now, but there's still a lot of people that don't. Anyway, so I'm a avid jazz lover. I study jazz, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring people together because music always brings people together. And at first, Tina was, I think, one of my first entertainer. And there was Uncle Bob, Angelo Pizarro. It was just an amazing group that came together through music. And I started that in 2009. It went for about 3 or 4 years. And then my son was still young. I had my son late. So I was like, my son was still young. And it was kind of a really hard gig to keep going at the time. And
Sure.
I really didn't have a whole lot of, people or support or people that could help at that time. So there was like a 6 to 7 year gap. And then all of a sudden in 2018, the Filipino community, Anthony Cordova, Anthony Ogilvy, all those guys said, we need to bring that back. And so we brought that back in 2018. And that's when I reactivated the Rizal Park and Bridge Preservation Society, which was originally established back in 1986 for the group that, that group of activists that actually named the park. And it's a preservation society to preserve the park. And so that's when we reactivated that nonprofit. And it's been going on ever since, except for COVID. COVID, I think we took a break, but it's been going on ever since, and it's getting bigger and better every year.
So
And
this
hopefully
must-
we can get more grant money and we can get like some bigger artists.
Yes.
You know?
So we just celebrated in August. We had the last jazz festival. I came up and had a blast. But Tess was telling me that the park is going through renovation for the next couple of years. Is that right?
Yes, the parks, we will be starting apparently in 2025, beginning of 2025. And there's a 1.3 million grant that was allocated for the restrooms and just the playground.
That's great.
And so there were 2 grants that were also submitted, but they were denied. The Parks Department was denied. So we need more funding to do other things to improve the park. So I've created a GoFundMe for just the plaques right now. But
yes, tell us about that. Tell us about that, Tess. A lot of people don't know about the plaques being torn down. Rob.
Yeah, so on October 12th or 13th, I got a text from Jose Floresca, and he said, hey, Tess, looks like the bronze plaques were taken. And, at first he didn't know that the plaques on the side were taken. It was just the face of Dr. Jose Rizal, where the time capsule is. But as he looked further, there were all the plaques were taken. And at first, to me, it felt like maybe a hate crime. But then again, people were saying, well, bronze is really expensive, copper is really expensive, and a lot of, there's been a lot of theft lately for that metal. And back in August, there was also a theft of the Sadako statue, the peace statue at the university, close to the University of Washington. They actually cut the statue at the ankles and took the bronze statue.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then recently there was a bell that was stolen at a restaurant on Capitol Hill, which was a bronze bell. So I think it's just, I think it's just, people that need money, maybe drug addicts, maybe, who knows? It could be whether it's a hate crime or for the metal, it's still unacceptable. Yeah,
it's hurtful. Right. So you put together a fund. Tell us a little bit about how we can contribute to help rebuild the statue with the proper names on it.
Okay. Just go ahead and go to the on my page. There's a GoFundMe. I still need to figure out how to do the QR code so people can just go ahead and donate on their own. But if they click on the link on the GoFundMe, it goes directly to the Rizal Park and Bridge Preservation Society. And at this time, I believe we almost raised $1,000, and I just started the fundraiser just a few days ago. So,
Oh,
What's the
Yeah.
fundraiser? Tell us about that.
The fundraiser is for the plaques, the 4 plaques, and the plaque that was in front of the monument. Of course, we cannot get the time capsule back, but I'm hoping that someone will find that time capsule, and we will even offer some kind of reward, I think, for that, because that cannot be replaced.
Oh, no.
The
Yeah.
plaques can be replaced, and they can be replicated, but that time capsule is something that cannot be, and hopefully someone will turn that in.
What's the
It's
time capsule?
a silver cylindrical. It's like a cylindrical.
Mhm.
It's a chrome steel.
Mhm.
You know,
Tube,
so
a tube.
a tube, exactly.
When was that
Yeah.
put in?
It was put in, I believe, in 1986 when
Oh,
they had the first. Yeah, and so I believe it was supposed to be opened within 20 to 30 to 40 years.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people had forgotten that it was in there. And when this happened, we were reminded that there was a time capsule. So, yeah.
oh my goodness. Well, I'm sorry. It sounds like but your fundraiser though. I mean, are you having a dance? Are you having a concert? What are you doing to fundraise?
It's right now, it's just the GoFundMe.
Okay. Okay.
Right now, it's just the GoFundMe.
All right.
So if people can, I think what needs to be done is if they see that the Filipino community are contributing, the Parks Foundation will also see that the community, the city of Seattle and the Parks Department will see, oh my gosh, these people are rallying together and trying to get this park back to where it used to be, and safer, because there's a lot of gang activity in the evening now. And so, yeah, it's because, and then all we need, I think really what we need is just more lighting, maybe some speed bumps, but lighting and cameras would really make a big difference. I think if we had lighting at the time, it would be more a deterrent for, people to
Sure.
those bronze plaques off, but there was nothing. It's just dark there at night. So
Yeah. My goodness. Well, best of luck to you. We hope that we can help in any way we can. We'll make sure to get the word out there for the fundraiser to get those plaques back up. It's part of our community and our heritage. But Tess, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for talking about this.
yes, and
Yes,
please,
Tess,
please,
thank
if you
you.
can just go to my page and click on the GoFundMe and sign the petition as well. We have a link here as well.
Okay.
So yeah, let's all come together and try to make a change.
Sounds great. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we'll get your name on on our page here shortly, and then
Okay.
people will see where to go.
Okay, thank you for having me. Yeah.
All right.
And
Thank you, Tess.
We'll see you guys.
Good to see
again
you.
soon. Okay.
Thank you all for joining us today on Real Estate and Money on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. And I want you guys to come back next week when we will be talking about the holidays, and especially Thanksgiving. And we've got so many things to talk about, visitors coming into town to visit us, family, for example, and then the celebrations we have in our homes.
Yeah.
So tune in next Tuesday, 2:30, right?
see you next time.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you once again for joining our show. Now, we filmed this a little earlier today because we thought it was very important for us to talk about Philippine History Month and the history there in Seattle. It's very important that everybody know about Dr. Jose Rizal Park and what it means to the Filipino community. Now, this is a very odd day. This is the day of our national elections. So I want to implore everybody to please get out and vote. Whether you vote for this person or you want to vote for that person, make sure that you exercise your right to vote. So many people came before us that have fought for people of color to vote, for women to vote. So it's very important. If you are somebody who has a young adult, anyone who's 18 or up, and they have not voted yet, make sure you pull them by the back of their head to go and vote. I do have a young lady that lives with me, my daughter. I'm 26 years old, and She was kind of flippant about voting. And I don't know if it's the generational thing or what have you, but I made sure that I sat down with her and I said, you need to vote. So we filled out our ballot and we voted. Why is it important? It's the only way we can actually have a voice and say something in our community, what we want, what we desire, what we want to fight for when we vote. That's the most powerful thing you can do. That's the most patriotic thing you can do, is to get out there and vote. Now, I know today a lot of the businesses, it's been very eerie. I work in banking. I'm a mortgage broker. And I had so many clients who wanted to wait until after the election to either buy a house or to even lock their loan. So I have 4 or 5 people right now in my pipeline that want to wait for the elections. Apparently, there's a magical thing that's going to happen tomorrow in the stock market or in the markets out there as far as rates are concerned. So a lot of people are waiting. There's a lot of anxiety. Now, I have voted in the past, for I think maybe 4 or 5 presidents. Not to give my age away or anything, but this particular 2024 election has given an amount of anxiety that has never been seen before. So the businesses are slow. I know as far as banking is concerned, nobody really wants to talk on the phone. I know the retail offices. I just went to a retail office here, a salon, and they said it's very, very, very weird. So I want to implore you once again to get out there and vote. Now, as far as housing is concerned and buying houses, one of the reasons why the interest rates were such an issue in the last several months or in the last year is because the prices of houses kind of got out of control several years ago. The rates hit a low of 2%, 2.5%, and the prices of houses started going up because everybody was able to afford a new home. Now, after that, that everybody has gotten to their homes and the economy and the marketplace, everything has kind of settled down. The anticipation is the rates will go back down to a normal place and people can start buying homes again. Now, what's going on is, if you are a seller, you had a house you bought for $500,000, and you want to sell it. If the rates are high, you may want to sell it for $450,000 or less. But then you say to yourself, I'll lose $50,000 if I sell my house right now, so I'm going to hang on to it. So right now we're seeing there's a lot of weird things going on. People who normally would sell houses don't want to sell their homes. People who are normally available to actually qualify for a home, they don't want to qualify 7 or 8%. So after this election, it's going to be very, very interesting. So I want to implore you, if you are looking at buying a home or refinancing, get very tight with your loan officer right now. Get very tight with a realtor right now. If the rates should drop dramatically in the next 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to want a loan officer to get your refinance going or to buy your house really quick. You don't want to wait 2 or 3 months to see if the rate's going to go down lower. You're playing the market. When the rates start going down, the market's going to get very, very crazy, and people are going to start bidding and overbidding for houses again. And there's going to be a frenzy. So I want to implore you 2 things. First of all, get out there and vote today. It's our duty to go out there and vote as patriots of the United States. Go out there and vote. And the next thing I want you to do is talk to your loan officer, talk to your realtor, and make sure that you are right there and set. When interest rates do start going down, you're going to be ready to act and jump. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us. We are so privileged that you are watching us and you continue to be our patrons and you're loyal to our show. And so next week, we hope to see you again. We're going to be talking about the holiday season and how to get prepared for that. So until next time, my name is Tina Lombard, Real Estate and Money. We'll talk to you next week.